I'm shocked you and I are on such different sides of this situation, and it has to do with the Packers and it has to do with Jordan Love. Who in their right mind, who's actually a sports fan, who really understands how this all works, who is really saying there's all the pressure in the world on Jordan Love this season? No way. No way. You're coming off of unprecedented success with 2 back-to-back Hall of Famers. To think that in year 1 of Jordan Love's starting, Perloff, that you are all of a sudden going to see shades of Favre or Rodgers, that's just bonus if you do. He's going to get so much of a honeymoon period. He is going to get at least this full season, and he's under contract for 2 years.
There has never been a sort of quasi-rookie who's had a shorter runway than Jordan Love. He better deliver right now, or the Packers are going to go in a different direction immediately. What are you talking about? They have plenty of time to sort of groom Jordan Love. First of all, he's taking over for Aaron Rodgers, the guy who took over for a legend and almost immediately was successful. The other thing, too, is that was back in 2008. There's so much intense scrutiny on the Packers, especially because Aaron Rodgers is the one who left. I feel like Jordan Love is going to be the number one story of the entire NFL season. Everyone's going to be paying attention. If you think that that's not going to seep into the organization, you're crazy.
No, the number one story in the NFL this season is going to be the guy who just left Green Bay, and that's going to be Aaron Rodgers, because that's a true Super Bowl or bust scenario with New York. It's an all-in, move your chips to the table. Whereas in Green Bay, you can understand, first of all, let's see what Mike LaFleur is like without Aaron Rodgers. Let's see what the coaching staff does without Aaron Rodgers. And let's see what this team actually looks like. Can the defense really hold their own? Can these receivers, is this going to be linear here where year 1 to year 2 is automatically guys moving and growing in the right direction? And again, with the quarterback, if he's bad, they're not going to all of a sudden give up on him, I don't think. Look at what happened. The franchise got turned upside down with this pick. They're not going to abandon ship on him in one season.
He's in his 3rd season. And it's Matt LaFleur, by the way. You do that every time.
Whatever. Same.
Matt's much better looking, according to my wife.
Wait, where's the other one? He was
a Jets. I don't know.
Now he's somewhere else. I don't remember.
So, Jordan Love, unfortunately, because of the contract structure of the NFL, has no time to learn on the job. Because he'll be the 3rd year in. If he's good, they're going to be like, oh, my God, we have to pay this guy already. If he's not good, they're not going to want that weird Daniel Jones 4th season where it's like, we're not really into him. We'll see what's going to happen. I think he's got to succeed immediately because this is a team that's known nothing but success. Packers fans who are countrywide, they're not going to live with a 5-12 season for Jordan Love. They're going to need at least 500 or it's going to be super disappointing. And I bet you if they win 5 games, then he's out.
So if Rodgers has to play how many percentage of the snaps for Green Bay to get another first-round pick next year, right?
75?
Something like that. I don't even know if it was that high. I thought it was like in the 60s, something that was easily attainable. So, yes, you might be sitting there with 2 first-round picks, and I think that if Jordan Love, even if he's not great this season, I don't know if they choose a quarterback with either of those first-round picks. Because, again, he was nice to them and took it. He kind of met the organization in the middle with the 2-year deal. So instead of just having to really bet on himself and try to put together like the Daniel Jones season, he and the organization decided, okay, maybe that's not our best course of action. So he does have these 2 years to prove it, and I think they're going to give him all of those 2 years.
No. First of all, it's barely any money we're talking about. So cutting him or not cutting him or keeping him or not keeping him is somewhat, when you look at quarterback money, is irrelevant. What was the contract? Like $23 million? It was the same as a tag. So they have enough flexibility to do whatever they want. In next year's draft, if they win, just a few games, quarterback palooza draft, you don't think they're going to jump on one of these guys? They drafted a quarterback when they had Aaron Rodgers. They drafted a quarterback when they had Brett Favre. You think they're going to be afraid to draft a quarterback when they have Jordan Love?
What was the difference about Favre and Rodgers when those quarterbacks were taken? They were in their 30s. Jordan Love is still somebody who's in his mid to early 20s, and they've already invested this much into him. They will make every excuse in the book for him if he doesn't have a great season. It's going to be, got to get used to, the league, the learning curve, all of that. This whole franchise, they've tied their fortunes in some ways to Jordan Love. Maybe not financially with the money, but in terms of the relationship with Rodgers that was never the same after.
Right.
The fact that Rodgers isn't there right now has to do with Jordan Love, right? They're not just going to give up after one season.
Oh, sure they will. They're as trigger happy as there has ever been at quarterback. I think Jordan Love's going to be awesome, so it's a moot point.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a star. I think he's going to be the next to follow because what we have seen of him, the guy's got such a ridiculous arm. I mean, he's not quite Aaron Rodgers-like, of course, but he's got all the talent, and that's a coaching staff that can bring that out in the offense. He's got so much help around him. He's got a running game. If that defense full with first-rounders everywhere plays up to its level, he's going to be fine. So I think that this is probably an unneeded discussion. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback. But if he's not, with that around them, I think they have a lot around him. I think that they think this is not Bryce Young in Carolina. He can win 3 games and no one's going to care. This is pressure. He's got to win.
Did the Green Bay Packers make the playoffs the first year that Rodgers was a starter?
No, but that was...
No, they did not. And did they give up on Rodgers? No, they did not.
Totally different era.
You ain't
totally
say that,
different.
but the Packers get all this credit for, doing the same thing they did in that Rodgers era, again with Love, in terms of taking a quarterback when you have a quarterback.
By the way, Rodgers was pretty sick that year, too. He had 28 touchdowns, 13 picks, and this was in 2008. Yeah, I mean, if Love does that, then we're fine. If he wins 6 games and throws 30 touchdowns and 13 picks, that's okay. But, my point is he can't have a bad year. He can't be... Who's a guy who everyone was looking at who just fell short?
Like Sam Darnold.
Yeah, or right.
That was a little different.
It's a Russell Wilson stuck in my head. If he has a Russell Wilson,
if he has a Russell Wilson type year, I mean, if Russell Wilson has another Russell Wilson type year, he might be out. Let alone Jordan Love.
It's a hand the torch situation. If he is not good here because he's in 3rd year, I don't think they're giving him the runway that they would a rookie. I mean, listen. People move on. Josh Rosen and the Cardinals moved on immediately because there was a draft pick available.
But that's maybe the dumbest franchise
Zach
in the
Wilson.
NFL.
I mean, all over San Francisco with our boy Trey Lance. Everybody's moved on. Zach Wilson. They got Aaron Rodgers. I think the Patriots have already run out of real estate with Mac Jones.
But for San Francisco, this looks terrible on them. Like, they got so bailed out that Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, happened to be a good quarterback in that system. If Brock Purdy was terrible, they'd all be getting shredded for this. Guys might be getting fired over this because that's how bad of a mistake the Trey Lance pick
He was not, though, at all. There's no mistake about Trey Lance. He's 23 years old. He hasn't played yet.
Well, if he can't win the job over Sam Darnold, then that's
because he was completely injured last year. I think it's not fair to judge Trey Lance at all. I think... He has, you're talking about Jordan Love a full season. Give Trey Lance 5 games.
I get it, but we're talking about, you can't hold Jordan Love and say that, listen, the Packers could move on because look at all these other teams that make mistake at quarterback.
They all move on.
Well, they all move on, but that's not what you want to be that's not something you want to be comparing yourself to.
But that's the reality of today's NFL. I think that you have to draft quarterbacks way faster than ever. The other reason, it's a lot easier now because of the salary cap, that every team wants to get into that rookie salary cap 5-year window, and you don't have it with Jordan Love. You already blew it. So I think the calculus is way different. Even Trey Lance, I think he has a full chance here. I don't think that they're going to they're not going to take a 5th-round pick. I think he's actually going to be good too. I think he can run well. He's got a cannon. Yes, I think he throws the ball a little too hard for many of his receivers, but he's got all the physical skills. I think that we shouldn't give up on him.
Okay,
but regardless, Jordan Love, I'm telling you right now, if this is bad, Maggie, there's not going to be another year of Jordan Love.
Let's listen to a current Packer and someone who is a multi-time Pro Bowler, and that's Elgton Jenkins, who is the standout offensive lineman. What he appreciates about Jordan Love, let's hear it.
His approach to the game, like when he first got in the league, he wasn't our starter, but the way that he walked around the locker room, the way that he approached the game, he always approached every game as a starter. So we know that he can be prepared and just ready to go on Sunday or whenever we play. So he stepped up as a leader a lot. So I'm very excited for his future.
All right. That's courtesy of Good Morning Football. Went on to say they expect to make the playoffs with Jordan Love.
Yeah, and I think it was very appropriate that he said, not always Sunday. There might be a Thursday. There might be a Christmas Day game.
You never know. During the pandemic, they're playing on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. 2-time
Pro Bowler, Elgton Jenkins. And, there's just nothing but good press about Jordan Love. That's one thing, too. I don't know if you buy into that, Maggie. It's sort of, is it June hyperbole? Or are you, if you had to judge what you're hearing out of Green Bay, it seems everybody is into the guy.
I mean, this is the party line. And there's no place that will, I'm sure everyone's hoping,
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're going to get the party line.
Yeah, in June, most linemen say nice things about their quarterbacks.
I would think so. You want to keep your job, although Jenkins is fantastic. Let's hit the phones. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Also, can we put this up as a poll, Samter? Does Jordan Love have to make the playoffs year one? Is that what we want to say?
No.
It's not year one for him. It's technically...
Well, I don't think if they go 9-8, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
That'd be good. I just think that he's going to have more time. Even if he looks bad in year one, I don't think they're like throwing him to the curb. I think they're going to let him. They're going to let him have 2 full years.
What if they're really bad and they get into the draft, though?
Well, if you're really bad and you have a top 3 pick, just like we learned with the Portland Trailblazers, things might change.
If the Packers are 5 this is hard. If they're 5-12, they're moving on.
I don't think so. I do not think so. 855-212-4CBS. Adrian's our pal in Maryland. Adrian, what do you think about Jordan Love?
Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call. It's pouring down here in Maryland, so I had to stop and give you guys a call. I think they're going to give Jordan Love at least 2 more years. You can't – everybody's putting him in the position of Aaron Rodgers. Remember when Aaron Rodgers first had his first year? I think he went 5-12, maybe 6-11, something like that. They didn't make the playoffs. He had a lot more around him. If they get those 2 number 1 picks, and their defense is decent. Don't forget the last game against Minnesota, not against Minnesota, against Detroit. They scored 8 points. So how much worse can he be than what Aaron Rodgers was like last year?
Thank you. 6-10 for Rodgers his first full year as a starter.
Right.
I mean, threw for over 4,000 yards. You could see that Rodgers obviously had the tools, but the record wasn't there. And Adrian, that's why I'm with you. I really think that he gets at least 2 years.
Yeah, I don't.
We still haven't seen Jordan Love a full year. So give him a chance. I'm not a Packers fan, but the NFC North, come on. They can win that division. Thanks for taking my call. Thanks, guys.
Adrian, appreciate it. Be careful out there on the roads. It has been raining for 100 years in the Northeast. So if you're driving around, be careful.
One thing, Adrian's adding to the issue here. He's saying they can win that division. There's real pressure here. I don't remember the exact scenario where Rodgers took over for Favre, but there's expectation in Green Bay. Nobody expects them to lose. I think a lot of people, their win total is close to 500. I don't think anyone thinks that they're, be okay to have a really bad season here with Jordan Love.
If he has a bad season, I don't think anyone's going to even remember if they stick with him. And just like Rodgers, what did I say it was? 6-10 the first year and 11-5 the second year. Like, no one remembers that bad season. Nobody cares.
But Rodgers didn't have a bad season. He was good.
Well, I'm saying, nobody remembers they didn't make the playoffs. Nobody's pinning it on Rodgers. No one thinks that it was his fault. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm not saying if Jordan Love has a Pro Bowl season and they lose a bunch of games. Because, Rodgers had Pro Bowl. Rodgers was really good that first year. So the issue is the salary cap. It's a different NFL. There was no rookie salary cap in 2008 when Rodgers took over.
Yeah.
They're going to jump into that draft if the team is bad. But they're not going to be because we love Jordan Love.